Boatworks today is sponsored by Total Boat and Alexial Yacht Coatings, as well as supported by the generosity from the beautiful folks over on Patreon. Thank you so much.
So welcome back, everybody. Hope you're doing well. My name is Andy with Boatworks today, and this week is going to be the new shop reveal, or at least the new shop reveal that's going to be under construction. And wow, there we go. That's a little bit better. So with that said, let's just jump right into it. All right, you're gonna have to work with me here on the audio because, well, this is the best I can do right now. Obviously, I don't have any of my stuff here, but this, let's see if we can get it going. This is going to be the new, I don't know if it's gonna be temporary or permanent, but it's gonna be the new shop for at least the foreseeable future. And to be quite honest, I mean, it's very, ironically, it's actually fairly similar to the shop that I currently have. I believe, and I might be off by a couple feet here, but I believe the footprint is roughly 42 feet wide. But along this wall and through here, I believe this is, well, at least according to the specs, this is close to 70 feet, which is about 20 feet deeper than my current shop. And well, I don't know. This says it's 42. My current shop, I know for a fact, is 42 wide. This feels, and by no means am I complaining. Don't mistake this for complaining. I'm just, you know, you kind of need to kind of break things down to really get I guess, a good feel for, you know, at least I do, for a particular space. You know, for me, you know, I'm sure you can pick this up. Echo. If I were building a shop, this is not the size that I would do. I'd actually do smaller and not as high. These walls right here, these are every bit as tall as the ones in my current shop, and that would put these around 18-foot knee walls. The door itself, I think it's roughly 14, or the sliding door, I think it's 14 wide by, or maybe it's 12 wide by 16 tall. It's the same height door as what I have. And it's very well built. I mean, this building was put up 9 years ago. It was built new. And the construction on here is first rate. I have absolutely zero complaints about that. It's just a matter of, you know, trying to find a way to make this space work so that it's, well, more productive, more efficient. And I will say, going into this is not kind of what I had in mind. I mean, I can obviously, you know, certainly make this work, but it might take a little bit of tweaking. Like, for example, I'm not quite sure what to do with this space here. I mean, it's a neat little area. I think the previous owner used this as a very small, you know, kind of like a little wood shop. But I don't know what I would be able to do with a space like this. Ceiling height is about 7 feet tall, so it's not quite large enough for me to be able to use as a wood shop. And just the size overall, with the tools that I have, this would not work. This would be a little bit too small. Now, looking at the width of what would actually be the work bay, again, I haven't taken a tape measure to this, I just kind of paced it off, but I'm pretty sure, well, this is less than 20 feet width to width, just by pacing it off. I think it's closer to maybe 17, 18 feet. 18 would probably make a little bit more sense. So this is essentially, it's a single bay, you know, kind of a workshop, which that part isn't a problem. That actually works for me. Now, looking up top here, this is very similar to what I have in my current shop. I love having this, I forget what you call it. There's some fancy architecture name I really don't care enough about to try and remember. But having you know, a little loft area right there, especially when you had larger boats. And I don't think that's going to be the case here, but when you had larger boats, I was able to basically step right off from there, right onto the deck, and it was easy access, easy on and off. That part worked out very well. Now, for the size boats I'm going to be working on now going forward, I just don't see myself, well, one, being able to bring a large boat up the drive, as you just saw. It's a little narrow, a little steep, and not much of a turnaround space at the very top of the hill. And as far as what is actually up in this loft, as far as I remember, it is pretty much a blank slate. Just a lot of storage, which all these storage bins, these are awesome. These are going to be put to good use. I believe the previous owners just basically used this for seasonal storage, you know, Christmas stuff, and well, hence the Christmas trees. Now, one concern I do have, I guess, with this building overall is the fact that even though it's well built and it's a pretty good size, there's no insulation, there's no electric, and at this point, there obviously is no heat. Now, these are all things because again, we're in Michigan, these are all things that are going to have to be in place realistically by mid-October, which means there's an awful lot of work that needs to be done in here. What I'm considering doing, let me ask you guys this. I contacted one contractor that does spray foam, because basically I would love for this building to be as tight and as efficient as possible. If I could, again, this is a little bit of an exaggeration, and I don't remember if I've mentioned this here. I've mentioned this to other people. I certainly mentioned it to the contractor. But I want this building to be so well insulated and so tight that you could essentially, theoretically, heat this with a few candles. Now, I know that's an exaggeration, but that's kind of what I'm looking for. I mean, if I'm going to be having to put the money into this building, it's going to be long term. I mean, we're not moving again. This is our last move. So most likely I'm going to be either dying here or at least dying in the vicinity of this area. So we're going to be here for the next 30, 40, 50 years, depending on how long I last before I end up feeding the worms. When I was talking with the contractor, again, this was very loose-ended when we were talking. We were both driving, giving him rough dimensions, that kind of thing. But what I told him is that I think the building is roughly 40 by 70. I told him the height of the walls and everything. And what he suggested was that these are 6-inch studs in the sidewalls here, 2x6s. Now, I guess before I was talking with him, I thought that if you had a 2x6 cavity, you would just fill that entire area up with foam, and then basically, put a vapor barrier, and then you can put whatever covering you want over top of that. Well, he was telling me that, even on a 6-inch bay, he's like, you don't need to spray anything more than like 3.5 inches, just because it becomes, a little bit overkill. Now, to me, that didn't quite make sense. It made a little bit more sense after we kind of crunched some numbers. I got an estimate on what it would cost to have this sprayed. But I mean, for me, like my old shop, for example, it's a Morton building. The walls are almost 10 inches thick, 10.5 inches thick, something like that. And I believe that's standard Morton construction in northern areas where they get a lot of snow loads and that kind of thing. And I mean, so I had R19 times 2 in the walls. That's unheard of. And I think they had close to 4 feet of insulation sprayed up in the attic. So my old shop in Herbster, very, very tight, very, very efficient. So that's kind of what I'm trying to mimic here. Now, when he was telling me to spray, 3.5 inches in the wall cavities, and so I asked him, I'm like, well, what kind of R value is that going to give me? He's like, well, around 19, 20, give or take. I don't know. I mean, is that normal? Honestly, I know nothing about spray foam. This is my first conversation I've ever had with anybody about that. So I know there's going to be somebody here watching this that's got a lot more experience or knowledge about this than I do. If that's normal, let me know. If it's not normal, again, please let me know. But I mean, if you only spray 3.5 inches in there, what do you do with the other 2? I mean, do you throw some batten insulation over top of that and then your vapor barrier? So anyways, cutting to fast forwarding a little bit in the conversation. To do this space, now granted, he said he was going to be that he would be doing the sidewalls, as well as he said to do a little bit of foam up top, but for the most part, the trusted areas was going to be blown insulation. Now, to do all of that, he was saying it was going to be right around the ballpark of 18, 20-ish grand. Yeah, I almost choked. But I know spray foam is expensive, but I also, my understanding is that it's also way more efficient than any kind of batten or fiberglass insulation that you're going to be able to put up in there, given a certain thickness. Now, again, first conversation I've ever had with anybody about this. I don't know much about it. I'm looking to basically get a massive crash course on this ASAP. So again, if you have experience or knowledge about this, please let me know, because that is a pretty big pill to have to swallow. And just real quick before my battery dies, and one other thing I'm just kind of noticing now is I don't know if these stains are on the floor, if these are oil stains or if these are moisture issues. They're also in here, and I don't believe there was ever any equipment in here, and especially since it's going up the wall, I'm kind of thinking that's a moisture issue. So again, that's going to be something that's going to have to be, you know, mitigated here. What else going to be involved with that? Honestly, I have no idea. And as far as the heat, what I'm thinking now, or at least the direction I'm headed towards now, is if I can get this to be insulated very well, a very tight, efficient building, what I'm leaning towards, I got to talk with the HVAC guys, but what I'm thinking is going to be the least expensive and potentially the most efficient is going to be going with a gas-fired hydronic or gas-fired boiler and just putting in some really heavy-duty hot water heat registers all around the perimeter. I would love to put in the coils. I love in-floor heat. That's what I have in my other shop. I love it. But given the cost of having to lay new coils on top of having to lay all new cement or concrete, in addition with everything else, I just don't see that. Well, I can tell you right now, that's not in the budget. Baseboard, I know for certain, is going to be the least expensive way to go. And we have baseboard in our basement at the other house, at the old house. And that works very, very well. Now, it doesn't retain the heat like it would if it were actually heating a cement slab. But on the other hand, if I were to lay coils in here and basically pour whatever, a half inch or an inch of concrete over top of that, this slab is not insulated. This is going to be a heat sink. This is going to suck the heat out of the coils right down into the ground instead of pushing it up in the air. This is a problem I had at the old house when that was being built. Again, when we didn't know what we were doing, you know, we thought as long as you got coils in the cement, heats the cement, everything's good. Not even close. Basically, I would say 80-some% of the heat just got sucked down into the ground and never really heated that space. So I'm shying away from this just because I don't think it's going to be efficient, but primarily because of cost. And you've heard me talk about cost quite a bit when I'm talking about this here, because as you saw on the walk up here, electric and gas need to be run up to this space. And just kind of eyeballing it here, I'm thinking it's all of probably 400 or 500 feet that would need to be trenched. And this is all granite, rocky area. I mean, I know that's not going to be cheap. It's not like digging through sand like it was at the old place. So I know that's going to be a hefty bill. On top of all the insulation, I know that's going to be a very hefty bill. And then I need to get into all the lighting and having the electric run. I think in Michigan, I think you're required, I have to look into this a little bit more, but I think you're required to have a licensed contractor do all of your electric. Wasn't the case in Wisconsin, at least it wasn't when we were building our house 20 years ago. So, I mean, these are all things that need to get done that I don't think I'm going to be able to do a whole hell of a lot with. These are all things that are going to have to be basically cut a check for. And when you kind of add everything up, it's becoming a little overwhelming. I'm not gonna lie about that one. So, what kind of things am I looking for advice for? Obviously, blown insulation, yes. Using perimeter hot water registers for the heating system. Does it work? Is it efficient? I know that plays into the insulation. Lighting, that's a big one. If anybody out there is affiliated with a lighting company, has experience with a good quality lighting manufacturer, I guess not company because they need to be somewhat local to here, brand of lights, something that lasts a long time. The lights in the old shop, the ballasts were junk. They lasted about 6 months and then half of it would go out. It wasn't the bulbs, I replaced all the bulbs. The ballast itself would go out. And then right now, half of the lights in the shop are shot. They're junk. I'm not gonna lay out the company that I got all that stuff from, but I can guarantee you I'm not gonna be going from them again. So I'm looking for a good quality, ideally LED, natural lighting. Again, I'm looking for efficiency here. I don't want the operating costs on this to be any more expensive than it has to be. So I think that's it. I'm starting to run out of daylight and my battery is about to die. Very impromptu kind of video here today. I just got back from 6-7 hours of moving. Just got the U-Haul truck unloaded and I still gotta go and deliver that, get this edited and uploaded and all that other fun stuff. But things are coming along. Every day is another step closer to actually getting back on track to what it is I really want to be doing, which is working on boats and getting that Bertram finished. I would love to have that thing in the water yet this summer. Hopefully the wind noise isn't killing you. But anyways, on that note, I'm gonna check out. So as always, I hope you enjoyed the video. And if you did, hit that thumbs up button. If you're not already subscribed, hit that subscribe button and the notification bell. Thank you in advance. Questions, comments regarding the heat, insulation, anything, any words of advice, I'd love to hear them. Please leave those down below. And as always, I will see you again next week. So thank you for your time. Thanks for watching. And I'll see you again very, very soon.
This has been a Boatworks Today production.